Hey guys, am I live? I think I am. All right. How's everybody doing today? Sometimes I feel like there's a big long delay before the show starts, so that's how I kind of waste a little bit of time before I jump into the chat. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Sunday show. I hope you guys are doing really well. I usually check what's going on my phone because otherwise I don't know when there's a commercial happening, when we actually are live, and sometimes it stalls a little bit at the beginning, you know. So how's everybody doing today? Welcome to the show. I hope you guys are doing well. I missed you guys. Last week we weren't live, as you guys probably may or may not know. I wasn't able to do the show last Sunday, so I apologize for that. There's been a lot of stuff happening this week, so there's it just was one of those things where I wasn't able to squeeze in enough time. But I definitely missed you guys. Happy to be back this Sunday, and hopefully we're gonna have a good hour conversation about gear. Hope you guys have your coffee and are ready to go. Uh, right now, there's 20, 21, or 27 people watching right now. So welcome to everybody that's already here, all the newcomers as well as the old timers. I just wanted to welcome everybody to Addicted to Gear, the show where we basically help each other through gear addiction. And help is a loose term because sometimes we also encourage people. So, as I say, the disclaimer is always we're not responsible if you buy another guitar this week because of this show or the videos that I produce on a weekly basis. So, welcome everybody. And just so everybody knows, if you want to chat, you have to actually subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, your chat will not show up. All right, guys. So I know there's a lot of lurkers that that are watching the show and watch on a regular basis too, but have not necessarily subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe right away, and you'll be able to chat. All right. We want to welcome everybody, and we want to start off by talking about what you guys have been up to in the last week or so. Have you guys gotten into any trouble? Any good news, bad news in terms of gear? Played any events? Have you been practicing? Are you keeping up with your practice sessions so that you show up to your gigs prepared? What's going on? Let me say good morning to everybody that's here. Randy, good morning. I missed us last week. I did too, Randy. All is well. All is well. Just very busy. The poll question, Gene, is in the community section of Addicted to Gear. So if you go there, you should be able to find it. I'll tell you what the poll question is in case you just want to think about it and answer it right here. The question I had in the poll this week was, does making mods to your guitar, if it's a modern guitar, basically devalue the guitar? In other words, are you risking that guitar not being collectible in the future because you mod it? Like, I'm a big modder. I like to mod most of my guitars. Of course, they're not vintage guitars because I probably wouldn't want to mod a vintage guitar because obviously the vintage guitars that are valuable are so because they're original. The more original they are, the more valuable they are. But at the same time, my more modern guitars or recent guitars, I really don't mind modding. And as a matter of fact, I mod them just to make them better. So the question is, do you think making a mod to your guitar sort of devalues that guitar and ruins any chance that it may have of becoming valuable in the future? Or do you think making a mod to a guitar actually increases the value because you're making it more playable, you're making it sound better, and maybe you're upgrading the guitar in terms of pickups or bridge or whatever? Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm curious because I thought about that the other day and I'm like, I basically mod almost every single guitar that I have. Am I ruining the chances of this guitar ever being collectible? Obviously, we're talking way down the line, but you never know, right? You might have something in your possession that is already semi-collectible, and perhaps you're ruining the chances. So think about that. We'll come back to that question before we end the show and maybe look at what the poll results are. So today is show 129. 129 guys, and I put a 10% discount code for you guys if you want to pick up any swag. ATG 129 should be able to give you a 10% discount. You'll see the link in the note section underneath the video when it pops up, and obviously that link is good for about 24 hours after the show. So if you want to support the channel that way, you can definitely do so. Pick it up, pick up some swag. Always welcome to do a super chat, and of course subscribe to the channel. So I'm gonna jump around and say hello to everybody that's already here and see if you guys have any questions already this morning. I like to start off the day with any kind of questions and stuff so that we can all jump into the chat. So Gene, I hope that answers your question about the poll. He says it's 6:45 in California, but I'm here making coffee. So you grab yourself a coffee and your guitar and just listen and strum along while we're chatting about gear. That's the best way to participate in the show, in my opinion. Paul says, good morning, Tony. He got the Vox Valve Energy cutting edge OD pedal, and it literally sounds like you're hearing a modeler, but it's all analog. Interesting. I don't know a lot about that, the Valve Energy OD pedal. Is that relatively new, Paul? Did that just come out, or has that already been on the market for a while? Do you guys remember that Vox multi-effects unit that came out a long time ago? I'm going to say probably about 20 years ago now, but it had a tube in it. I forget the name of it. It was made by Vox. It was a multi-effects unit. It wasn't very big. It had a tube in it. And it was basically, I guess, one of the early modelers that they came out with. Sounded decent at the time. I didn't really get why the tube was in it, because it was analog. I don't know if that was just marketing hype or what, but I just don't remember the name of that unit. If anybody has an opportunity to look that up, let me know what it is, because it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm having a senior moment. Gene is surrounding himself with stash and snacks. He's starting the day off right. Let's see here. Yeah, some people have a hard time finding the poll question. I don't know why. It should pop up. Anyways, good morning, Monk. Good morning. It's me, Don P, Rich, John. Good morning to you. So John says he saw my video on the NUX MG400. Have you had a chance to use it? Try out all the features. Well, that's what I'm actually playing through right now. This is it. This is the MG400. Still stock patches. I haven't modified anything. It's a great little unit, I gotta say, guys. I like the sounds. I'm playing, by the way, if you guys are curious, I'm playing the, this is the Kramer Beretta Special with the Vega Trem and the JB Seymour Duncan in the bridge position. Obviously, there's only one pickup in here. I think it sounds good. I don't know. What do you guys think? You're actually the first people that are getting a chance to hear this thing, because I haven't actually done a playthrough video on it yet. I did an unboxing video, and I think I went overboard with the unboxing video because it ended up being almost 20 minutes long. I have a hard time making my videos short because I like to go into details. The Vox Tone Lab, that's what it was. Thank you, Rich. Yeah, Tone Lab. I remember that. Yeah. I remember it was a nice little unit. Obviously, compared to what we have nowadays, probably wouldn't really stand the test of time. But back then, it was pretty interesting. Yeah, so this is the MG400. Not all the sounds are winners, but I'm just going to scroll through a couple. These are stock factories. I don't know. What do you guys think? And it's only, yeah, it's 219 bucks, really cheap. The thing that they, I mean, if you guys might not have already heard or seen my video, but they made some little changes to it. It's basically now they added an additional switch. Before there was only two, now there's three, actually four switches. And I guess they've improved some of the sounds, but it already sounded pretty good. That's the one that we actually gave away here on the channel. I don't know if you guys remember that. I did a draw and we gave it away. So now they have the newer version and I'm liking it. It sounds pretty good. The only disadvantage with this unit is they did not include an effects loop in the back of it, the ins and outs, which I think you really would like to have if you want to use any of your existing pedals on it. And you know, the screen is not huge, but it is color. There's the expression pedal built into it. Usually I go through the Ampero 2 Stomp, but the Ampero 2 does not have the expression pedal built into it. It's a good little unit also. I'm not saying it's a bad unit at all, but I always liked the sounds of the MG400 because I felt like it sounded more like an amp to me, you know? Let me just go up on a sound here and see if I can. This is obviously a sound with less delay and reverb. There's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot more drive sounds in the unit than clean sounds. I think the clean sounds are maybe not as good. This is like a semi-clean. You can hear that there's a little bit of grit. Let me see if I can find a clean sound for you guys. They're all drive sounds, almost all of them. Here's a little bit. A lot of reverb on that one. This is called Voxy Sparkle. This is called Bogna. I guess it's a Bogner. I like the drive sounds when they're a little bit, when they do have a little bit of delay. This is Brit Lead. I'm actually going to take this and bring it to the rehearsal tonight and risk, you know, not being prepared with the sounds because I haven't actually programmed anything. I just basically, I'm playing stock here. So William, I'm playing through the MG400 from Nuex. I did a unboxing video and it's the 400, which is, I think, a really good buy at only about under 250 bucks. Sounds pretty good to me, but usually I like to prepare the sounds so that I have them all set up for the individual songs that we're playing and I don't have to scroll through and guesstimate what sound I want to use. But today I'm not prepared, so I'm gonna just probably bring it as is and plug it into the head rush and see how it sounds. I haven't decided what guitar to bring though. Maybe I'll bring this one, I don't know. I'm thinking humbucker tonight. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll bring this one. Maybe I'll bring something else. I usually try to be prepared ahead of time and set up and basically load everything, get ready to go. I usually have a routine. I don't know if you guys have a routine when you're rehearsing or getting ready for a session, but I like to be prepared. I like to pack everything up ahead of time so I can just grab and go. So I usually try to think about which guitar I want to bring the day of, early morning. But often I find I pick a guitar and then before leaving, like just last minute, I'll change my mind and I'll grab something else. You know, it's a shame because you kind of psych yourself up for a certain guitar and then at the last minute, you're like, nah, I'll take this one for whatever reason. But it's all good, guys. Let's see here. Outlaw Guitar, good morning. Hey, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well wherever you're from. I don't think you've been. Have you been around long, Outlaw Guitar? I haven't come across your name too often, so you might be new. If you are, welcome to the show. Let me just scroll back just to make sure I didn't overlook any questions. DMAX says he picked up an MXR super badass distortion yesterday. Really versatile in a range of overdrive to distortion, good EQ. It also pairs well with an SD1 to tighten things up. Nice combination for hard rock. A lot of people have been pushing the MXR stuff lately. I saw a lot of people talking about the badass. And I think, yeah, I think overall people like it. I don't see any big, big negative on that guitar. The MSR stuff is usually built quite well and usually lasts quite long too. So you can kick it around and not have to worry about it so much. Did you guys, speaking of pedals, did you guys hear about the new Fender guitar pedals that are out? I don't know if you guys are big fans of the Fender stuff. You may or may not be. I'm not really sure, because some people like the Fender stuff. They like the guitars, they like, the amps, but for whatever reason are not big fans of the pedals, and I'm one of those too. I don't know. I don't usually think about Fender when I think about pedals. Is it just me? I'm not really sure. But they've released a new line of pedals. It's called the Hammer Tone. And I think they release a bunch of them at once. Like, instead of releasing a couple, they're basically releasing a line of these pedals. So I don't think anybody's probably had the opportunity to try them. I think they're brand new. And they're small. The chassis is a little bit more compact. They seem like they're built better than the last bunch. Did anybody try the last bunch of Fender pedals that had sort of an aluminum casing that was kind of bent aluminum? I wasn't a big fan of those. I didn't feel like they were built like to last, but these seem to be built better. So I'm not sure how well they're gonna do, but I think there's like a complete line. I think they have everything in there in terms of effects, and I believe they're not that expensive. So that's always good. I don't like pedals that, are just overly expensive for nothing. So I think they have an overdrive, a distortion, they have a metal, a fuzz. I'm not sure if they have like a reverb yet. I have to do a little bit more research on it, but I think there's at least, I'm going to say 10. So I don't know what they all are, but I'm pretty sure there's an overdrive. There's a distortion, fuzz. There's a chorus. I know there's a chorus pedal. There's a flanger, a delay, a space delay. I don't know what the difference between the delay and the space delay is. There's a reverb. So the cases are kind of like a little bit boring. They're like this really like boring grayish type thing. I think the only thing that adds to the color is the color of the knob. So they decided to color the knobs and use the same casing, I guess, for all of them, which maybe cuts the price down a little bit. But I'd be curious to try them. I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. Eventually, if I can get some, I'd like to try it out. All right, let me go back here. William says, I have a Fender pour-over filter. It quit working. Didn't care much for it anyways. Hard to get a good tone. Yeah. Well, they're not all winners, eh? I mean, out of a line of pedals, I wouldn't say that all of them are always winners. Like, I'm a big Wampler fan. I like the Wampler stuff. I like the TC Electronic stuff as well. But they're not all winners, right? You got to pick and choose. Hey, Leo turned 50 last Wednesday. Happy birthday, Leo. 50 is a big number, man. But it's, it's all in the mind, right? Don't feel old or anything, because I'm over 50. I'm going to vouch for you that it's all in the mind. Stay young up here and you're good. Don't worry about it. Cheers, guys. Paul confirms that the Vox has been out for 4 years. And it says it has the Korg NewTube VP1 miniature triode tube. I see. So that's the tube is why it passes through the ears that you are hearing a modeler. You're actually hearing a tube preamp. Very interesting. Thank you for that, Paul. I'm going to check it out, man. Paul always has some good pedals to share with us. That's why I like listening to you guys, because, you know, sometimes I overlook things or I'm not aware that certain things are out. So you guys help me out on that. So D-Mac says he played a few of the hammer tones. They'd be good introduction pedals to people getting into pedals and playing. I prefer the HS Series 3 though, overall in that price point. All right, cool. Thank you for that feedback. And Fat Philosopher has a question. What is your favorite rock song with a single coil clean sound? Recently listened to Tears for Fears, Everyone Wants to Rule the World, and the Strat and Telecaster on it were awesome. I agree, man. The Tears for Fears stuff, especially that album, is so well recorded. It's so clean, so perfect. Everything sounds great. The mixing and mastering on that album is fantastic. And yeah, the guitars do sound amazing. What's my favorite rock song with a single coil? I'm going to say, I don't know. I mean, this is cliche, but, and this is just off the top of my head. I'm sure I can come up with a few more. Definitely Sultans of Swing. There's probably some, I'm going to have to throw in some SRV stuff in there. Tin Pan Alley is a good one. Sounds beautiful. What else? I guess that's blues. That's not rock, right? If I'm thinking rock with a single coil, probably some Clapton stuff. Although Clapton usually played dirty, not really clean, you know. I got to think about that. Like, give me a couple minutes, and something else will pop into my head for sure. All right. We did lose the queen, eh? Hey guys, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I should even bring up that kind of stuff here, because I know that there's mixed reviews, mixed opinions on all of that. Some people don't care, some people do. What do you guys think about all that? Just a quick survey in terms of how do you feel about that? I think it's sad, personally. I think it's sad because it's the end of an era. I think there's a lot of controversy happening in the royal family, and definitely the feeling, I guess, towards other members of the family and King Charles, not Prince Charles anymore. You know, people are not necessarily happy about that as well. So it's a little bit of a strange time. But yeah, I think the funeral is happening soon, if not today. I think it's happening tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, right? Eddie says, guys, I bought one of those Red Bear Guthrie Groven picks. It's nice, not $30 nice. Dude, $30 for a pick? For a piece of plastic? Sorry, I don't mean to laugh or make fun of you. I know that there's some picks that are definitely, these definitely sound different. The V picks, for example, which are like $9-10 a pop, but I wouldn't pay even $9 or $10 a pop. I lose all my picks in the washing machine most of all, or they fall out of my pocket and end up underneath the seat of my car most of the time. So if I have to buy a $30 pick, I'm gonna need a special case. I'm probably gonna have to put an air tag on it, so if I lose it, I'll be able to find it. I don't know, man. It's look, I'm playing this tech pick, this patent pending tech pick. Can you see this? It's actually a metal pick. It's made of metal. I just pulled it out. I keep a lot of my picks in, like, you know, pill boxes and stuff. I just throw them in there. They're all over the place. So I'm playing a metal pick right now. I don't know if you can even tell the difference. you hear it? Usually you can hear it because it digs into the strings a little more. You hear the, it kind of like chirps a little bit. I like the doing this thing. This is the cool thing about the Vegatrem. I love the gurgles. The Vegatrem's a lot of fun, guys. I gotta say, it's expensive, but it's a lot of fun. It definitely makes it more enjoyable. It's a little bit more, it's definitely smoother. It's easier to play. It just, I don't know, it just makes the guitar more fun. It's got a little bit more bite. Yeah, exactly. Those picks definitely have more bite than a regular one. If I use a plastic pick, I don't know if you'll hear it because of the sound. So that's plastic. And that's metal. Very hard to tell the difference. So that's why I don't necessarily, you know, you feel the difference because the metal obviously does not bend at all, whereas the plastic does. But if I have to spend 30 bucks on a pick, I don't know. It's more a feel thing. It's got to feel good in my fingers. But I don't know if it's really, if the audience is really going to know the difference that you're using a $30 pick as opposed to a regular pick, you know. Presley says, I scored a pretty killer deal on Craigslist last week, 80s G&L. Nice. SC3 SSS Strat style with the Bioleo Fender on the headstock. USA made 80s Fender. I got it for $440. That's an awesome deal. That's an awesome deal. I really like the G&L stuff. I had an original G&L too. And it was a US made original G&L that I paid 1,400 bucks at the time, which was in the 90s at some point. Kept it for a long time. It was a great guitar. I should not have sold it. It was a cherry burst. So it was a sunburst, but cherry. Beautiful guitar, played really well. Maple neck. I don't know why I sold it. I shouldn't have, but I did. That's an awesome guitar, man. 440, that's great. And it's exactly 440, just like the tuning. So it's a sign. If you guys are superstitious, I'm not sure. I think Fat Philosopher's wife is superstitious because she pointed out something earlier this week where one of my videos popped up on the feed and the views on it were 666. So I don't know if that video was possessed or not at that point. But Fat Philosopher showed it to me and I thought that was interesting. So if you guys are superstitious, maybe that'll be important to you. I'm not super superstitious, but I'm a little superstitious. So Addicted to Gear is live every Sunday for those of you that are new here. Just so you know, Sunday 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is the usual time slot. I rarely miss it. Sometimes I do, but mostly that is the time slot. I'm usually on for about an hour or so, and I encourage everybody to jump right in and ask the questions because an hour goes by pretty quick. Don't be shy, ask your questions. Yeah, and I also put out videos on a regular basis. This week was the video unboxing of the NUX MG400. I'm going to do a playthrough on that. I wanted to do the playthrough live, like one of these live shows. I just wanted to use a different time slot and basically play through it, kind of like I'm doing right here, except it's difficult because I would need another camera so you can see the actual unit. So it would be a 2-camera setup, playing through the software here. I'm not sure that's the best case scenario, but I want to be able to get like questions and go through it with you guys. So my laptop is just getting like choked out in terms of how much stuff it can actually handle at once. I'm afraid that if I go live and I actually try and set up another camera, it's just gonna like something's gonna happen. Something's gonna give, and it's gonna ruin the show. So I gotta figure out another way of doing that. If I had a second small like webcam, maybe I could do it that way. But basically, I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I want to risk it or not. Cletus Christ says, I've been here on Sunday morning for a few weeks now, and this is a really nice Sunday morning hang with coffee. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And I appreciate that too, Jack. Thanks for the thumbs up reminder. Yeah, those little thumbs up help the show. It helps the show get more views, and every week I see a few more people here, so I think this is really great. Hit the thumbs up and got a free massage, says Gene. You guys kill me. Fat Philosopher went car shopping today, and she bought out the tarot cards in the dealership. That's the other thing I noticed with the MG400 is that when you bring down the volume, it does, well, not that low. It kind of reacts a little bit, but not too much. You have to bring it quite low. That's the thing with multi-effects units, is that the less expensive units don't really react all that much in terms of dynamics when you bring down the volume on your guitar. I think that's the difference between the inexpensive ones and the ones that are more expensive. There's actually more, for whatever reason or however they actually design these things, they actually are, they put through a little bit more dynamics, in my opinion. So if you spend something like, an Axe FX, you're spending way, way, way more than you're spending on the MG400, but at the same time, I think there's definitely more dynamics that come through the unit. I think that's the main difference. Monk says, old guy here, I haven't bought a stomp box since the 90s. What should I look at? I know things have changed massively in the past 30 years. Now it seems as though they are all multi-purpose. Well, I wouldn't say they're all multi-purpose, but yeah, there are a lot of combo pedals out there. The funny thing is, things change, but the more things change, the more they stay the same, because I think that a lot of the pedals nowadays a lot of the people looking for pedals end up looking for the vintage ones, right? A lot of people are into the old Rats, the old, some of the old Boss pedals. The Ibanez Tube Screamer is always a big one. So, I don't think you've missed that much. They've changed over time in the sense that there's probably, a lot more versions of the same thing. Like there's a lot more. Look how many people are copying the Tube Screamer. Look how many people are copying the Klon. How many people are trying to copy the King of Tone and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's more variation in terms of price point. You can aim for, let's say, a Tube Screamer clone or the original Tube Screamer of the vintage one. You can go for the vintage one, or if you don't have the budget, you can go all the way on the other end of the spectrum and get yourself a Chinese-made pedal that comes pretty darn close to the let's say the vintage tone, so to speak. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree with me on that. When I say close, I mean for the money, and you're able to get pretty close to the original tone for not too much money. So I think that is a good thing. Because honestly, some pedals are just out of whack in terms of how much they're asking for. I wouldn't necessarily want to spend that kind of money on a pedal. Like, I'm not going to spend, I would never own a Klon, because you're looking at what, $5,000 or $6,000 now for those pedals. Not interested. I can easily get something that gets me in the ballpark and that's close enough for me. John wants to know if I'm going to keep the NUX. Well, I just got it, the MG400. I haven't even kicked the tires on it yet, John. So I'm thinking I will keep it for now, unless I decide to do a draw for it like I did the other one, which could happen. I don't know. We'll see. But so far, I would like to keep it for a little while and just get familiar with all the options. So when I do the review of the sounds, I can at least do a proper review and give you my opinion on it compared to the other one. I definitely think this one has a lot more going for it right off the bat than the previous version. but I haven't actually used it in a live scenario, and that's usually where you get to really feel it and hear it in its full glory at full volume, especially going through, let's say, an FR speaker system like the Headrush. So I'm going to bring it tonight, and I'll report back and let you know. All right. Guy Marzello, he's given me a wave, so I'm going to give you a wave back. Robert Gallagher, thanks. Looks like a great place to hang out on a Sunday morning. I think it is, and I'm glad you're here to hang out with us. Yeah, man. So, keep what you have. I mostly have a Boss and Dodd. I mean, look, the Boss stuff, the Boss pedals, is built very solid. Most of them sound pretty good. I don't think you're gonna do badly with Boss and DoD. Of course, there's a lot of people that are moving towards boutique pedals and whatnot. It really depends what kind of sound you're playing and what amp you're playing through, and if you're just playing at home or if you're playing in a live scenario. So let us know what kind of what kind of playing you do. Sometimes less is more, especially if you have a good amp. Fat Philosopher says he sold a few vintage 80s Japanese pedals for 3 times what I paid for them. So Fat Philosopher, when are you going to open up your own pawn shop, man? Because it looks like you're just buying and selling all the time, which is great. I think that's fantastic, especially if you didn't like the pedals. But a lot of people are after the 80s pedals. I had the full line of MXR pedals way back in the 80s, all of them. The yellow chorus pedal. I don't know if you remember. It's this big, and it actually had a hardwired plug that you had to plug into the wall. They didn't have any batteries at that time. That one didn't come with a battery. You actually had to plug it into the wall. I had the flanger. I had the phaser, the script writing phaser. I had the distortion plus, all of them. And I bought the entire set. A family friend of mine was selling them, and I just picked them all up. And I liked them. I kept them. I should have kept them longer. I ended up slowly selling them one at a time, unfortunately, but I shouldn't have, because some of those are worth a pretty penny nowadays. I still can't get over the fact that the Distortion Plus today is selling for quite a bit of money, and I never thought it sounded that good. I had 2 of them actually, and I sold them both. But I didn't. I don't miss those pedals. The stereo chorus was nice, but it was, with the plug, it wasn't practical. The flanger was nice as well. Phaser was nice. Flanger was big too, if I remember correctly on that one. All right. Let me just. And if I skip your comments, guys, and you have a question, please ask it again, and I'll just answer it. All right. I don't mean to jump over questions, but sometimes I'm scrolling up and down just to keep track. Never played a real Dallas treble booster, but the one in the Helix is incredible. I use it all the time. Sometimes that's the beauty of these multi-effects units. They have one like key effect in there that makes everything sound so good, and you usually pepper all your effects with that particular sound. I tend to do that with mine when I find something that actually could help cut through the mix and it's not an overdone effect. I tend to use it a lot in my other effects. Yeah, for $5,000, buy a new guitar, not a new pedal. Yeah, I agree, man. Cletus wants to know, I wonder why the T-Rex pedals don't get much love. I've had good luck with them for many years. Your thoughts? Have you used them? I used one quite a while ago, which I don't remember which one it was now because it was quite a long time ago. I wasn't blown away by it. The thing with these pedal companies, Cletus, is that they're not all like, some of them just catch the lightning. You know, they become very popular, very trendy. I don't know if it's because of the social media stuff that they're just putting out more social media out there, and people are more aware of the brand, like Wampler and like others like TC Electronic. They produce a lot of social media videos and reviews and whatnot. And I guess they just become more popular for whatever reason. But there's a lot of other brands out there that are very, they're not very known. And some of them make some really nice pedals, but they're not as popular. It's difficult. It really is difficult to market yourself today because there's so much competition. Good morning. I'm late. I was trying the Satchel pedal. It sounds almost like the Friedman pedal, a little less better. So it sounds like the Friedman. Which one? The Dirty Brown Eye? Is that the one you're comparing it to? Seriously thinking about quitting electric to switch to acoustic, says the Lion King. Nothing wrong with playing acoustic. I don't know if you need to quit electric. Why would you want to quit electric? Play both. I go through phases where I'm playing a lot more acoustic, then I switch and switch back to electric because I miss it. You know, and I get those phases where I'm like, yeah, you know, acoustic is better, or, you know, electric is better, and I switch back and forth. I'm a Libra, guys, so Libras tend to have a hard time making a decision. You know, it's just one of those things. So I jump around a lot, unfortunately. You know, I end up being, I flip-flop. That's a Libra thing. Hey, John, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. John says, I saw a used Klon pedal on Reverb for $9,000. Seriously? You have to have money to throw away to spend money like that on a pedal. Totally agree. Totally agree. I couldn't agree more. Like, that's, you know, more money than brains scenario. You know what I mean? Unless you're really, really dying to buy that pedal for whatever reason, I don't see why you would have to spend $9,000 on a pedal like that. Or just maybe for bragging rights, but I don't think you're ever going to make your money back. So I don't think that would be a good whatchamacallit, a good business decision. Yeah, the Timness outcloned the Klon. Yeah, there's a lot of people doing reviews on the Timness from Wampler. You know, and if you're looking at that Klon sound, you can get the Timness for not too expensive, and it comes pretty darn close. You know, so then why? Other than the fact that maybe you think the value is going to continue going up, but if you paid $9,000, I don't think you're going to get your money back. You know, if you can get it for $1,000 even, that might be something worthwhile in terms of an investment. If you have $1,000 to blow, keep it in your closet, and maybe down the line it'll be worth a lot more. But 9,000, no, I don't think so. Yeah, and the Mosky Silver Horse too is a pretty inexpensive contender for the Klon sound. Steven, nice to see you, buddy. Steven, I hate when, you know, the system, it kind of like glitches sometimes, where it stops, and then it just like it pushes everything up. I'm reading a comment and it just flies by, so I'm gonna scroll back here. Super sticker, $4 from John D. John, thank you again. Hippo character waves in his hand in front of his neck with an awkward look in his face to signal that the player is done. John, I'm not sure what we're talking about here, but interesting comment. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not really sure. The Archer is one of my favorites, Dan. If I had a choice, I'd probably go with the Archer. Still not a cheap pedal, but I think it sounds great. Sorry, I was reading someone's comment and it just flew by, so I'm gonna just try and find that one again. Steven says, hey man, so awesome to see you. How's your thoughts on the MG30 compared to the HX Stomp modular modeling and effects. So it's the MG400 that I have here, Steven, not the MG30. I thought the MG30 was okay. It wasn't fantastic. There was some shortcomings, especially because it didn't have all the proper ins and outs. They even improved it on the MG400, which I think is great, but they still didn't include an effects loop, which I thought was a mistake, because if they would have included an effects loop on this, I think it would have been way better. So maybe on the next one, that was one of the comments that I made on my review, if you saw it. Not really sure. Gary, does a metal pick damage the strings? It actually does, yes. I've noticed that it does. It actually wears away at them a little bit too much. It kind of scratches them up in the picking location. Not as much as a coin does, though, because I have used a coin a la Billy Gibbons in the past. Because the edges of the pick are a little bit more, they're softer, they're smoother. They don't have the ridges like a coin does, even though you're supposed to file them down. It does actually cause some issues. And it also depends how hard you pick. I was never good at the squeals. Never good at that. Gotta practice my squeals. All right. There's not too many stereo amps out there. Yamaha THR 100 HD Line 6 have some. Roland have a nice little JC 40 watts. Do you know any others? Well, one of the first amps I wanted to buy before I knew anything about tube amps is I wanted to get myself the stereo chorus, the Roland Jazz Chorus with the 212s. I always thought that was an amazing clean amp, but I didn't know much about tubes back then, so I ended up sort of wanting to get that, and I'm glad I didn't, because I think it's great for cleans, but it's pretty limited in terms of anything else. So if you would get an amp like that, the stereo chorus on that was beautiful. If you're playing and you want to have a nice clean sound, that was a great amp for that. But nowadays there's more choices. I don't know if one of the things I was going to say is whether or not you actually tried or might consider the new Princeton, the Tone Master Princeton. I don't know if you guys saw that. There's a new one out, and it's basically it's a Princeton transistor version of a Princeton, which I think a lot of people are digging. So if you're into a clean sound, you might end up going that route. It's not stereo though. The only stereo amps that I know are going to be like the stereo chorus. But in terms of clean, pretty cool. Good choice. Cornerstone Sparkle is a great overdrive made by a couple in Italy. They make pedals. They make pedals. How much? Every time I hear something about Italy, and I do like the Italian quality, I think it's great. That's where the Brunetti that I have behind me over here is from. That amplifier right there, made in Italy. But it's usually more expensive. It usually comes at a price, right? So I wonder how much they cost. Jean-Pierre says, squeals like a pig. Yeah, exactly. Like Deliverance. I think I'm out of tune a little bit. Let me see if I can get another sound. Here's a clean. There's even a little bit of a sparkle. Can you hear the high? If I keep quiet, maybe you can hear. There's like a shimmer verb on it. Listen to this. Do you hear that? It's subtle, but it's there. Nice clean, actually. I like this clean. Very nice clean, actually. I'm surprised by this unit. This is like a kind of a tweed. But there's not really enough bite, so I would like edit this sound. See, not enough bite, even though I'm at full volume on a humbucker, so I would have to tweak that sound. This is a thing. You fall down the rabbit hole whenever you're dealing with a multi-effects unit, because I'm very specific about the sounds that I like, and I spend more time tweaking than I do playing, you know. But when you get the sounds that you like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Steven says, last question. Why does this have to be the last question, Steven? There's no limit on the questions. What do you recommend for an amp modeling and effect right now under $600? Well, I mean, there's a lot of choices under $600. If you're going used, you can perhaps get, well, the Helix probably wouldn't, probably wouldn't be able to get a Helix under $600. Look, there's the Ampero Stomp. There's the new the NUX MG 400. There's what else? Roland stuff maybe. I know Roland has a few. I haven't tried the Roland multi-effects unit recently, so I can't say how much I would like it. Line 6 has some good stuff as well. I don't think you could really go wrong with any of those. It all depends, again, what you're aiming to do with it. Are you aiming to gig with it, play with it at home? Do you want to record with it? What is it that you're interested in doing with it? You know, that really will determine which direction you go on that. Joseph says, after trying the Silver Sky, I don't like Stratocasters anymore. I was impressed with the Sheraton Pro 2 335, but I went home with a Evergreen PRS Silver Sky SE. Well, first of all, Joseph, I got to say, I think the hype on the Silver Sky, I mean, it was really hyped quite a bit when it first came out. A lot of people were interested in seeing what that guitar offered. Obviously, it died down now. I also think because maybe PRS is having a hard time furnishing all of the SE versions of that guitar. I tried it. I really liked it. I didn't like the color. Like the one I reviewed was also the green one. And no offense, Joseph, if you like the green, that's fantastic. Green was not my favorite color. But I reviewed the guitar and I looked at it. Color notwithstanding, I played it in a live scenario and I thought it sounded really good. It sounded even better, like loud, you know. So is it going to replace my Strats? I don't think so, but it's definitely a different feel and a different sound. Like, I don't want a guitar to replace my Strats. I already have a Strat. But if it can do the Strat thing a little different or better, I'm not going to necessarily go into that argument. I think that's a good thing, right? Have more tools in your toolbox. So yeah, that's another very nice single coil style guitar in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like the birds on the neck. Maybe eventually PRS may release a model with dots instead of like birds, but I know they originally had the dots and the birds, and a lot of people ended up trying to find the guitars with the birds because they didn't want the dots. So I guess eventually PRS determined that the birds were selling more than the dots were, and nowadays you don't see many PRSs with the dots. You know, you almost have to, it's harder. You know, at the first it was almost like it was 50-50. You can get a PRS, an older PRS with the dots. Now it's almost like most of the PRSs out there come automatically with the birds, you know. Yeah. So Mark, Mark, that's a good point. So Mark was responding to the question where he says he plays two katanas and he runs them in stereo. That's another option. It's true because the katanas are not that expensive, right? So you can actually do that, or maybe two if you want to go tube instead of transistor. Get two Blues Juniors or something like that and run them in stereo. You know, but that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Yeah, obviously. Mark says I need to get a Marshall tube amp gain. Why not use a pedal? The Pinnacle's a good choice from Wampler. I like that pedal a lot for a Marshall sound. Davis says Vega Trem or non-locking Floyd Rose for a build I'm working on. Headstock already has Spretzel locking tuners. What do you think? Well, first of all, I gotta say, Davis, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the Floyds. I have a Floyd on two guitars right now, and I specifically have them on those two because they're kind of replica Eddie Van Halen type guitars. So I figured on those guitars you need to put a Floyd. Otherwise, it just doesn't look the same. You know, it's more of a look thing. But in terms of practicality, I find that the Floyds are very finicky. You have to buy a good quality Floyd if you want to not have to be tinkering around with them forever to get them to stay in tune. There's definitely a technique to actually changing strings and making sure that it's in balance. If you know how to do it, you won't have that many issues, but it's still finicky. So I prefer if I want to do dives and I want to be able to do pull-ups, the Vega Trem is a good option. I'm not saying it's the only option, but it's a very good option. I like it a lot. It's very smooth. As far as the locking tuners go, a lot of people have the misconception that locking tuners work the same way as a locking nut, which in actual fact it does not. Locking tuners just save you time because you don't necessarily have to wrap the strings around the post. You can just go through the whole, lock it in place, cut it off, and that's the end of it. But it doesn't necessarily lock anything in place in terms of tuning. Your strings are still going to go out of tune. They're still going to stretch. So, you know, if I put a locking tuner on my guitar, it's not because I want to, I want to use them in place of a locking nut. That's not the case. It's just really a question of saving time. And to be honest with you, I don't necessarily want locking tuners on all my guitars. I like to wrap my strings. If you wrap your strings around the posts properly, you don't really need locking tuners. And if you're with a locking tuner, I find because you're cutting off the string right here, if ever you're taking off your strings and you want to change your pickup and then put the old strings back temporarily just to make sure everything's working properly, a lot of times you have trouble. The ends end up getting shredded, and you can't do it. It just kind of deteriorates the end of the string. So if you wrap them like this, you end up having plenty of string left over. And if you wrap your strings properly, you can actually mimic the locking functionality of your locking tuners. Maybe one day I'll do a video on that. There's plenty of videos on that on YouTube, but maybe I'll end up doing that just so people know. Thanks. You like my metal patch? Yeah, the patch is called, actually, well, this is not metal anymore. The last one I was playing was tweed. Let me see if there's another metal patch. Don't like that one. Not crazy about that one. Old Clean. Interesting. A little bit too much reverb on this one. Look how long it lasts. Way too long. Vocal solo. Meh. I don't like this one at all. No, not that one. That one's not bad. I like it. I really do like this unit. I'm not just blowing smoke here. This patch, the last one I played, is just called Joko Crunch with a K. Yeah, some of the sounds are really nice, Jean-Pierre. They're really you can fool around with these things, and you can really come up with some really inspirational tones. Makes it a lot of fun. Let me just scroll down really quickly. Guys, we're at the 1 hour mark. We're going to have to call it quits soon. So if you haven't asked your question, or if I've missed your question, copy and paste it down below. I'm going to answer it right now, okay? Presley says, I special ordered a Blue Sparkle Flake back-routed SSS Strat from Alan Eden. Nitro undercoat poly on top of the large flake. Custom orders are open this month. Awesome. I didn't even know they did custom orders. That's cool. I might have something I'd like to order too. Maybe another Telecaster body or something like that I have in mind. Cool. Hey, Presley, can you send me the link to that when you have a moment in my email, please? I know I have it. It'll save me a bit of time. Charles says he likes amps with simple controls, option paralysis, then stay away from the Mesa stuff, because the Mesa, nowadays I feel like some of the more recent amps that they've put out are moving away from the millions of push-pull pots and switches, but originally they were known for like being very sensitive, and you can get a lot of different sounds out of them. But unfortunately, you're absolutely right. Option paralysis with that is not always a good thing. And I'm like you. Give me a Marshall and I'm happy. It doesn't have to be crazy. I don't need 6,000 buttons. I'm happy with stuff like that. All right, all right. Did I get rid of my Black Star? No, I didn't, Graham. It's right over here. You don't see it. It's right there. I reserve that for, just stuff around the house. Sometimes I take it to rehearsals, but now that I'm using the multi-effects units with my flat response speakers, I've been doing that a lot more because it gives me more flexibility in terms of tone, and it's easier to carry. I'm not going to lie. I did like I did 25 kilometers, maybe 26 kilometers yesterday on my bike, and I'm sore all over. So anything that I can put into a small gig bag, and I can put in my multi-effects unit, my cables, my rehearsal notes, and even perhaps the actual speaker. The FR speaker is not that big. It's like this big, right? It's about this big. It fits into a large carry bag. If I can put everything in there and basically just carry my guitar and that, I'm happy. Makes things a lot easier. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down all the way down. And I'm going to work my way up the last couple of questions very quickly because I'm going to have to jet soon, guys. Mark says he's sore from a 3-hour gig yesterday and lifting speakers getting old. Yeah, man. Me too, Mark. How did the gig go, by the way? I saw the pictures. Looked good. Looked like the setup was nice. Gear Junkie says, has the Studio 22 preamp, miss it every day. I guess you meant had the Studio 22 preamp, miss it every day, push, pulls, and switches on all 3 channels, basically 6 channels with bias for Marshall and Fender tone flavors. Best preamp ever. One that got away. I'm sure you can get another one. They're actually not even that expensive anymore when I come across them used. So yeah, just keep your eyes open. And that Nevermind tone. Paul says, Tony, dots on a PRS Silvertone, never. The first ones were 8 months ago for review. None had dots. Yeah, that's what I mean. Nowadays, they're not doing the dots anymore. They're getting away from the dots. I'm talking about the earlier guitars. when I was looking at the earlier guitars, when I bought my first Core PRS, I was trying to get one with the birds, and most of them were with the dots because the dots were less expensive. Now it's like they decided to put birds on everything. I'm glad the gig went well, Mark. Awesome. Time for the dog to take me out for a walk. Have a good Sunday, Tony and everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I try, man. I try my best. All right. So if there's no further questions today, I did have a few other things lined up that I needed to talk about, but I'll save them for next Sunday because, you know, I don't want to rush stuff, but I do have a tight schedule today, so I'm going to have to jet. But I appreciate all you guys tuning in. I thank you for you know, joining me on this Sunday. I appreciate your patience for not you know, not having the show next Sunday. We'll try not to make it happen too often, but I appreciate all your comments and chats. We're gonna do it again next Sunday, same place, same time, and come prepared with your questions. All right, guys. I didn't have a chance to look at the results of the polls, but you guys are welcome to go in there and check out the results of today's poll question, and write down your questions during the week. You know, if you have something specific you want to ask during the show, just write it down. Come prepared, and we can cover a lot more questions in a lot less time that way. All right. So have a great week, guys. Stay tuned for the follow-up videos. I do have a very interesting guitar also that's going to be up for review. If I can get time to actually create that video, it should be something interesting for you guys. And I'll let you know if I'm going to be doing the MG400 sound samples in a live video like this one. I probably will, just for... I think it's more fun. It's more fun to get comments and hear what people think right away and answer the questions as well. So we'll see. I'll try my best. All right, guys? Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great Sunday and rest of the week. And we'll catch each other next week. Sunday, same time, same place. See you guys all soon. Have a good one.